We are live. This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. Gee, they downgraded U.S. debt today. Wow. Guess they figured out we've been spending $1 trillion every 5 months, but they have to do a downgrade and everybody has to freak out. Now, this is the reason why you buy crypto. Everyone sold crypto today because that's what the machines do. So if you want to know what to buy, when to buy it, right? If you want to look at all the different things and all the different indicators that are pointing towards one word, higher. So we apologize for the stream time today, and we apologize for the background noise. I am having technical difficulties at multiple levels. You want to check out our YouTube membership? We got the Solana 7. The Solana 7 in the YouTube member area, and we have multiple reports in a new platinum category in Patreon. Oh my God. We have DeFi AI. I'm sitting on another report. So we got 2 DeFi AIs. You want to know about this stuff? I'm going to help you out. And we're going to talk about privacy, because if you're not talking about privacy, then what are you talking about? And we'll cover all the news about doom and gloom. And we will get you covered soup to nuts, right? The Bitcoin conference is coming, and, you know, Bitcoin FOMO is really high, hence the decline. Hence the decline. All right. We appreciate everyone. Let's welcome who's on the stream. Okay. Big Rich is here. Baby Whale, Bull Runner, welcome. Live it 351. Too late for Europe. I'm sorry about that. We will be back regular time soon. Today's Tech Bites, the great Santini, welcome. Today's Tech Bites, a member for 6 months. Thank you, sir. Grandpa Keeter, the original, right? Bizan, Caroline Storytellers, Gavin, all members. Forget about it is here, reminding you to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Welcome, Patriot Caveman, right? GME and Pengu will look at it. Don't let me forget. I'm not Bruce of Cliff. Love the timing. Okay. Big Rich can't get enough Tao. Dude, this AI trade. Oh my God. Get these people off Nvidia and get them in the decentralized world. I keep doing AI research. It's Toby plus our GAN model. Oh my God. What this thing is spitting out on AI. This is going to be in the YouTube member live stream, hopefully tomorrow. And it's definitely in Patreon. Oh my God, right? We got so much DeFi and AI combo work. We're like bottlenecked in terms of getting it out. Seriously. DC Precise is here. Welcome. JB from SoCal. GME. Love you, bub. Sir, we love you too. Patriot Caveman's got something he wants me to look at. Okay, news. I got to be extra super loud today, because I know we got background noise. Okay, so excellent news. JP Morgan CEO says, I'm not a big fan of Bitcoin, even though his asset allocation unit has to buy it. Customers want it. Please. Government debt, foreign exchange, Congress won't stop spending. Long bond going through 5%. Mortgage rates going to go parabolic. Housing's going to collapse. Did I miss anything? Please refer to the Bitcoin white paper or the Bitcoin standard or your friendly neighborhood market update to keep it abreast of why Bitcoin, why layer ones, small and large, okay, and why AI. I mean, they told you today. Arthur Hayes, $1 million Bitcoin tip. Okay, so everybody has a $1 million Bitcoin price tag. I wish they would talk about 120 and 140, because that's what there is to talk about. But Arthur Hayes, to his credit, talks about a powerful altcoin rally looms. And guess what? Toby Ward's got some really interesting things to say about altcoins. And we, as a group, cannot get altcoin research out fast enough. And I will leave it at that. Who am I listening to? Arthur Hayes. Who are you listening to? Me, Toby Ward, and the Eagle King. Investing in crypto is risky. Not investing in crypto is also risky. Toby Ward will tell you, if you want to be positioned for the AI future, you want to get involved in crypto right now. Even if all you put in is the beer money, right now, right? YouTube members have absolutely printed off what she has said and what the research GAN model has come out with. Like it's a crank and a printing machine. Now, this, oh my God, I got 2 articles in Patreon about this. 2. So Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse says pro-Bitcoin Cynthia Lummis canceled the meeting. And I hope you will reconsider and be a leader for all of crypto. Okay. So what's that about? What's up with that? Well, I'm going to tell you what's up with that right now. Because we got this in the YouTube member area. So XRP $60, right? Hyperbole. Notice I put it in the Patreon Platinum tier, not YouTube. Then we have DeFi and AI because we can't get enough of that. Then we have the new thing, right? The new one I just did. Ready? XRP, the Judas moment. XRP, Monero, diverge. Now, you're like, okay, Bill, let me get this straight. You're going to talk to me about XRP, which is an obvious YouTube mindshare topic. And you're going to talk to me about Monero, John McAfee's favorite coin, at the same time. And you put that research in the platinum area? And I'm like, yes, I did. Because the price targets in the original thing can happen. And do you know why Cynthia won't talk to Brad? That's because Web 2 wants Ripple. And you know what? Ripple is going to sell. Google bought YouTube for $1 billion. And people were like, what are these guys doing? Now they make $1 billion a day on revenue on YouTube. A day. Go look up the price paid for Instagram. I want to say that was $19 billion. Web 2 wants XRP as money. They want their stable coins and they want their layer 1 XRP ledger. That's why Cynthia won't talk to Brad, because Brad, well, you know what? I guess you're going to have to read the reports in Patreon Platinum. Deutsche Bank outlines how stablecoins role ensuring U.S. dollar supremacy. Yeah, I can't believe they won't do this. They are doing it, right? You get a long bond that sits at 5% and you get a 10-year note, because the 10-year note is not at its premium zone yet. They could get hysterical in the 10-year note. You can bet you're going to see stable coins really quick. And when you see stable coins, okay, follow me here. Stable coin companies buy treasuries and they use that as collateral. As collateral to do what? Issue more stable coins. So it's kind of like using treasuries to print money in a way. It's like increasing the money supply in a digital way. So where are all those stable coins going to go? Friends, neighbors, where are they going? Oh, they're going into the crypto market. So they don't have a choice, especially with the bond market. The bond market is just Hershey kissing. Just House Republicans advance Trump's big, beautiful bill. Okay. So people at the lower income spectrum are desperately in need of help. Their credit cards are 20%. They're not saving any money. They're destroyed by the prices of things, even if it's Costco. I understand why the president wants to do this, but guess what? The bond market doesn't care because they have not cut spending, and they're going to continue to spend. Every congressman wants a piece of the big, beautiful bill in their district, and the orange man is going to make that deal. He's going to make the deal. And then when the bond market gets hysterical, the Fed's going to buy it all, which has already happened, right? It's already happening. RINOs are hijacking the budget. So what's the difference between Democrats and Republicans when it comes to spending money? There isn't any. They just want to spend money. U.S. 30-year bond gets to 5%. What does that mean? Okay, so that means people are selling bonds, one, right? They've lost a little bit of long-term confidence, two. But the 30-year bond is that's where you get the 30-year mortgage from. So loss of confidence in bonds equals mortgage rates rising equals housing crash. Crash, crash, crash. Do you remember back in 2021? What was the smart trade in 2021? Take profits in crypto. Well, I guess if you sold ETH at 5,000, okay, that was a good trade. Sell crypto and buy a house. Guess what? You're about to get a 50% haircut on that house because there are no buyers. And if there's an employment problem, I don't know if there's going to be, but if there's an employment problem, people are just going to walk away from these houses. And then banks are going to sell the houses to who? To who? Oh, wow. I got a 9% or a 10% 30-year mortgage rate. Let me snap that up. Not happening. Not happening, which is why the Fed is cushioning it. I've got it here somewhere. Okay, Ray Dalio, who just cannot control himself about the end of the world, right? There's credit risk because the only risk of the government is not paying its debt. And of course, we have a giant paragraph, and then we'll do Control F, and we'll look for Bitcoin. Okay, so Ray doesn't mention Bitcoin, but ZYNX says too long, didn't read, not mentioning Bitcoin. Okay, this is why you Bitcoin. Okay, so Treasury Secretary on Sunday morning talk shows trying to calm the general public down about this Hershey Kiss storm. Guess what? They're going to have to print money. They're going to have to do Treasury QE. So if they need $2 trillion, they're going to borrow $3 trillion and use the other $1 trillion to cushion the Treasury market because there's absolutely no bid for Treasuries. There's no bid, right? None. The Fed is already doing it. The Fed's doing it. I know I have it in here somewhere, and we're going to find it. Hedge fund CIO, there are things that threaten U.S. exceptionalism. Bro, if they do stable coins and they get Bitcoin to 200 and they get the crypto bros out of their basement making money, everyone's worried about U.S. exceptionalism. How about we get Web3 going and everybody can kiss our hiney? How about that? Let's get Web3 going. You know, they said we couldn't go to the moon. They said we couldn't invade Normandy. I'm over it. I'm absolutely, absolutely over it. Garlinghouse will sell. He and Novogratz have a ton of privately held stock. You don't think XRP can get to the sum of the targets that we have in Patreon Premium? There's a reason why, Platinum. There's a reason why that's not on the internet. $675 million liquidated as they collect all of your money. Okay, you see this DeFi AI stuff that we got going on. God, you see the Solana 7, right? The Solana 7 is now in the member area. You know what you do when the market is down? I was like, oh my God, it's a perfect time to put this in there. Just get after it. Just get after it, right? Get after it. Take this from a former market maker in the U.S. Treasury bonds. Believe it or not, I was in the long bond pit at the Chicago Board of Trade. It was like the long bond at the time was like the aorta of all of financial markets. I mean, this was so big. Like I'm 6 foot, about 280 back then. I was too small to be in the pit. And basically, this guy thinks that a 30-year auction could fail. And he could be right. He could be right. Now, Does anybody remember when Bitcoin decoupled from stocks? Stocks were down 2% and Bitcoin was up 2% 2 days in a row, right? And everyone's like, hey, Bitcoin is decoupling. Now, I'm not going to tell you who told you Bitcoin was going to decouple. A certain blonde analyst that people don't take seriously enough. What happens when it decouples from bonds? What happens if you have a problem in the bond market and Bitcoin decouples? People are going to go, huh, look at that. What do you know? Now, meanwhile, back at the privacy ranch, UK to require crypto firms to report all users' transactions starting in January. Non-compliance may cost £300 per user. You know, I read a book in high school called 1984, and I was like, wow, this is such a ridiculous book. Because, I mean, Ronald Reagan was president, and how could the United Kingdom under Margaret Thatcher, right? We used to, I mean, the Europeans are not on the stream today, but, you know, we used to read all about Winston Churchill and the RAF and the Battle of Britain. This will never happen, ever. I'm like, okay, bro. Well, guess what? It's happening. Antivirus, privacy. Privacy came up in one of our GAN filters. I'm like, I can't go out with this Monero thing. No one's going to believe it. Well, guess what? Guess what? If XRP gets acquired or any crypto project gets acquired by a centralized entity, and you have sovereigns acting like this, okay, you know what? I'll just hodl my antivirus and wait for everyone to figure out that they can get a SIM card, an email address, a mixer, and they can't come get you. They can't come get you. Tether they own more treasuries than Germany. They're going to figure this out. They have to figure this out because they can have an auction that could fail. Okay, one of my favorite guys, Just Dario, says this is a very good example of why privacy tools and software will be in the demand in the not too far future, because the founder of Telegram with 2.6 million followers, who I have to start following this spring, okay, somebody from French intelligence asked me to ban conservative voices in Romania. I refused. We didn't block protesters in Russia, Belarus, or Iran. We won't start doing it in Europe. Privacy is not optional. Bitcoin is not optional. And guess what? If you're here now, or you're hearing the sound of my voice now, a week from now, a month from now, guess what? You're early. Like, Bill, Bitcoin's at like 100K. How could I be early? Because when the rest of the world figures this out, Bitcoin's going to be at 250. Not enough people talking about 120, 140, and 250. Except, of course, the people who are in the YouTube member area where this has been discussed for quite a while. Arthur Hayes just revealed why Bitcoin is going to $1 million. Okay, you have a failed government bond auction. That's what you have. Now, of course, these guys with seven-figure targets, and I keep saying this, where is Web3 with Bitcoin at $1 million? Where's Ethereum? Where's Solana? Where's XRP if it's not required? Or if it is acquired? Where is every layer one that could be used by an AI agent? By the way, if you want to know that list, that report is coming soon. I got that as hot off the printing press, ready to go in Patreon Platinum and to be discussed on the YouTube member live stream, which if we can ever figure out the air conditioning situation in the studio, we will get that out as soon as possible. Okay, that's why he's talking about a major altcoin rally. Altcoins are worth $800 billion. Web3 is worth $800 billion. In equities, they don't floss with $800 billion. And I know I say this every stream, and I'm just going to continue to say it because you're early. Saylor, MicroStrategy delivered a big return. Michael Saylor has $200 billion in unrealized profits. Why? Oh, look at this. Why is the Fed quietly buying billions in bonds and hoping nobody notices? Huh? Why do you think that is? To prevent a failed bond auction. That's what they're doing. So they're quietly pushing money out into the system because they know that if the orange man has scared everybody, like the orange man scared the Japanese and they won't buy, and the Chinese won't buy, and some dummy in Congress, I don't know, the banks or Web 2 talk them out of the stablecoin legislation, what are these guys doing? So the Fed, the Treasury have to come in and they're like, oh, well, okay. We may not agree with what's going on here, but our job is still our job. And we cannot have a debacle in treasuries because this is considered a risk-free asset. Your house works off the 30-year bond. Your car works off the 5-year note, right? Your credit card rate opens off the 10-year note, most likely. They cannot lose control of the situation. This is called the risk-free rate in finance because they love spreadsheets. Okay, if the risk-free rate is not risk-free, everything in legacy comes apart. Now, you might say that's good for Bitcoin, and it is. That's how you could get Bitcoin at $1 million. But you may go outside, and it could be Mad Max, if anybody's ever seen a Mad Max movie, right? So, again, this is why you Bitcoin. This is why you altcoin. This is why you get in Patreon and listen to Big Rich. Big Rich bought Tao at the low. At the low. He got the low tick at 179 and an AI coin that comes up in every filter that we do. Tao, artificial superintelligence token, render, and render. Right. Artificial superintelligence token and render. The median home buyer is now 17 years older than in 2007. All these people at the low end need help. U.S. debt is the safest bet on earth. You know what? If they have to come out and say that, you have to sort of scratch your head because the finance book already says it's the risk-free rate. But if they come out and tell you that, is there a problem here? Houston, do we have a problem? Chinese warn of retaliation if U.S. goes its own way. They own a lot of treasuries. They own a lot of treasuries. The digital gold rush ends in 2035. Get more Bitcoin before there is no more Bitcoin. The guy's not wrong. The guy's not wrong. Showing it has a promotional video showing how its 100 million users can send Bitcoin with an email. Now, what you'll also notice is that, 58 millionaires and, 21 million Bitcoin. So, okay, you get the idea. Bitcoin surpasses 2.1 trillion. Okay, Bitcoin should be worth more than any Web3, Web 2 company. That means they should surpass Microsoft, and it should probably be worth 3 trillion. But like Arthur Hayes, we should be talking about, drumroll, altcoins. See, when every tweet, when every piece of news, Bitcoin rockets after El Salvador. You see, are you picking up on a trend here? No one's talking about Solana. Tim Draper says he owes 30,000 Bitcoin and say Bitcoin will be the largest money in the world. Yeah, it will be. But is it going to 120 or 140? What's the next move? No one's talking about that. Because it's easy to sit around and talk about, yeah, it's going to $1 million. I have a bunker in New Zealand all set up for that. The rest of us got to get hedged. The rest of us got to get involved. Okay, Michael Saylor with the orange dots. I'm buying like I just don't care. I just don't care. Vaneck said there's $1 trillion waiting to go into the bond market. Into the Bitcoin market. Okay, Kathy Wood thinks it's going to $1 million. I mean, are you seeing a pattern here? Now, 14 states have invested in Bitcoin, and I think, if I'm correct, like ETH gas fees now it's 0, but ETH now has a narrative thanks to Vitalik, right? ETH BTC just surged 38% off the lows, and you can't even tell. What happens if they get something running on ETH? A real world asset announcement or a Web 2 company or a bank getting involved is inevitable. I think it's Web 2. Like after this thing with Garlinghouse and Ripple, every single Web 2 is probably in a meeting going, okay, what are we going to do to get everybody who's on our AI transacting using some sort of stable coin? Who can we call? Can we call Avalanche? Can we call Algorand? Can we call Hedera? What are the made in America cryptos again that the banks are going to have to get involved with? That whole ISO 20022? I mean, these cryptos are on the list. And now it's not just banks that have to start using them in November. Now Web 2 wants to get involved. What do you know? What do you know? Solana surpasses 90 million market cap, and meme coins are doing absolutely nothing. Regional banks getting involved. JP Morgan to allow clients to buy Bitcoin. Gee, Jamie, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to do what I want to do with my own money. Charlie the Positive Cat from the Antivirus Samurai says, anti will fly. When people figure out that they got price tools, they got privacy tools for the general public, and McAfee is talking like every week. He looks better every week. He looks better on TV than I do. XRP futures start trading. Ripple signs 2 more payment systems, right? So every time they expand this this stablecoin game, the valuation just keeps going up, right? Strategy, multi-million-dollar purchase, not going to stop. Metaplanet, not going to stop. You don't think you're early? You're early. They're just not going to stop. Now, the bull case for Galaxy Digital is AI data centers, not Bitcoin mining. Okay, that's true today, right? They stabilize their income stream. They have an AI data center. They have a little bit diversification. They are a crypto hedge fund after all. They have a lot of altcoin Web3 investments. There is a lot of volatility in that. But to get in AI data centers, they got rid of a Bitcoin miner. Now, I'm sure the AI data centers helps them make more money now, which looks good for their earnings because, by the way, they just went public in NASDAQ. However, 5 years from now, when every Web 2 company has spent $220 billion each to build data centers will be commodities and Bitcoin will be a treasure. But I understand why Mike had to do it, because he went public on NASDAQ. Good for him. You know, he had to go public originally in Canada because nobody would let him do it in America. Bitcoin climbs to 105K. Crypto issuers of ETFs see 35% upside. Notice who's talking about Bitcoin going to 120, right? How funny is that? Bitcoin is the asset. Ethereum is the platform. You know, I read something today that said, you know, there's too many Bitcoin, there's too many Ethereum layer 2s. And that may be true from an investment point of view on those tokens. But if anybody ever said, we want to run all the finance, where are we going to run it? Probably on ETH layer 2s. My favorite layer 2, by the way, is, I can't tell you that. That's in the Patreon Platinum area. I don't know that you can have enough layer 2s. I don't know that we have enough layer 1s to run AI. That's what the new report is going to be out as soon as, you know, as soon as we can get it out the door. I'm sorry the stream was late today, by the way. Too much yelling into the microphone, but don't worry. Yelling into the microphone will continue. Okay, Ethereum's Vitalik proposes new design. See, this is all the equity market needs to buy the ETF. I realize we're going cringe, whatever. I'm not trading on this. I'm not trading on base. Have a nice day. But if he has a narrative, he can get a bid. He can get a bid. Here it is. Don't believe the noise. There can never be too many layer 2s. The rise of Ethereum layer 2s isn't a problem. I don't think it is. Because one day, somebody's going to be like, yeah, we need to run everything online. If you have a failed bond auction, you're going to need a whole separate treasury market on chain. right? Wrong again says, look at credit default swaps. That's right. I don't know what's going on in credit default swaps, but I would imagine that that is a reflection that our credit is not exactly good. And they have not cut spending, and they ran antivirus out of town. Find out now, Glorious Crow with a 0. I know Toby has mentioned that, and antivirus. Okay, Grandpa Keeter picked up some more some more antivirus this weekend. 4 million market cap for privacy. Okay. Yeah, sure thing. Absolutely. Whatever. Seriously, whatever. You know, it's like Gann said, the longer you have to wait, when you have to wait, you're actually doing spiritual development. Really, that's what Gann said. You're doing spiritual development by waiting. So if you have to wait, when it actually comes, you actually might be enlightened. Crazy, right? Okay. You know how long we had to wait in Bitcoin? Bitcoin sat at 10K while we had DeFi altcoin summer in November of 2020. To such a degree, Bitcoin didn't even move, literally did not move. The Bitcoin Maxleys were calling my old boss going, okay, what tokens do I buy? Okay, I admit it. Now, here's the thing about Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin hit its premium zone and Bitcoin came off. Okay. But I believe the Bitcoin ETF and, by the way, the Bitcoin stocks. So we're doing all the live TA today. Right. Bitcoin ETF, is at its premium zone, but MicroStrategy is not. This is what I wanted to say. So what is the fashionable hedge fund trade? What are they all in love with themselves about? Long Bitcoin, short MicroStrategy. Can't do it enough. It's a no-brainer. That's because MicroStrategy trades, at twice what the Bitcoin is worth, right? So, yeah. And that's because Bitcoin is code you can't replicate. They have tons of that. They have tons of code, and nobody in the private sector could ever buy that amount of Bitcoin. So, of course, it's going to trade at a premium. Everything in the equity market traded at a premium. Nvidia was going up forever. They had Nvidia watch parties for their earnings in Manhattan. Seriously. And I got something in here that somebody actually tried to sue Michael Saylor because MicroStrategy is not a computer company. It's a Bitcoin hedge fund. And somebody took exception to that. I don't know why, but there's always somebody that's got to make noise. Okay. And then if you start looking at like Bitcoin and crypto related stocks, okay. So we had a correction in Coinbase today, but it was kind of itty bitty. No correction in Coinbase. HUT Mining hits the 200-day moving average and comes straight back. Thank you very much for the retest. Okay. Member request for a meme coin. I got a new meme coin I'm going to be looking at soon. Bless their heart. The water guys are back very soon. I hope they kick ass. I'm going to help them. Because God knows those guys have suffered trying to get that trade done. Okay, I can't pronounce this, but you have a square formation, which is always key for meme coins. You got to have a square. If you have a spike up and a spike down, that's not usually a good sign. But if you have a square formation, which I might be able to get to, okay, those type of moves, once it breaks out, it can go. Now, is this a breakout? We'll see. They got a lot of volume coming in over here. You know what? Give crypto a chance. Give crypto a chance. You want to do meme coins? Do it. Let's get kids out of their freaking basements now. Okay? Now, on the bad side, Fetch broke out of an upward sloping wedge. Not that great. The good news is it's retesting this July low off the yen carry trade panic, which was, I don't know, the legacy doom and gloom of the month way back. Big Rich says, can we check TAO? Of course we can. Of course we can. Okay. T Creek says the new tier in Patreon rocks. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Wait until there's a GAN model that's cranking out research. It's just unbelievable. Like, I got more DeFi AI coins, more layer ones, bigger cap, more layer ones, smaller cap for AI to run on. I mean, it's just, I can't get it out fast enough. And we talk about these coins in the YouTube member area in case you are wondering. Okay, so TAO gets to equilibrium and does what all these coins do, which is do like a little mini retest of support. So the 200-day moving average is 373. And I'm sort of noticing that they just really can't get down there, right? And if they do get down there, it's Christmas. And how far away is TAO away from its premium zone? Like, you really don't want to buy stuff. I don't like buying stuff at the premium zone. So Bitcoin is at the premium zone, but TAO is 87% away. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me about this AI trade? Virtuals. They hit it a little bit. It comes back 170%. Render. I mean, we can do render on like the free stream because I don't know. Oh my God, look at Stellar on support. This is another possible takeover. Hopefully it's not a CBDC. Like 200-day moving average, LuxAlgo support. So I know somebody out there is into into Stellar, excuse me. Good luck stopping this stuff. Render. Here's the thing about render, right? First of all, back in the day, this, along with the graph, was a multi-coin capital darling. You know, they're afraid of the 200-day moving average at 5.1. And you know what my answer to that is? Good. Good. Because you know what? When they're not afraid, equilibrium is at 7.3 and premium is at $11. And you're going to tell me that after Arthur Hayes, who hasn't been wrong about anything this year, says we're going to have a huge altcoin rally, and Render is afraid of the 200-day moving average. And you're going to tell me that you're not early. Like the P-brains out there are still not long. This is the big stuff. The small stuff is like ripe to explode. Ripe to explode. Right? Because I mean, remember SUI? Remember SUI, SEI, and Aptos? Remember when they were like Coinbase, Hershey Kiss coins? There's going to be another group. There's going to be another group of those that AI is going to be running on. And I have no idea why we're all sleeping on this. I mean, I know that the Patreon guys, I know that the YouTube members, I get it. They're all over this. But I want to get everybody else all over this. Because again, the stuff that's coming out, I'm like, I was like, tell me, look at the recent report. Look at this. She's like, this is the best thing we've ever done. She said, about the last two reports in Patreon Platinum. Guys are charging $200 a month for that research. Total two. Total market cap without Bitcoin can go up 43%. So you can add $500 billion. And if you did, you still wouldn't be through the 2024 high. Wow. So Arthur Hayes says it's going up. I'm saying it's going up. Toby says it's going up. Eagle King says it's going up. What are we all doing? And you got all this room to the premium zone. And altcoins, forget about it. Look at this. This is crazy banana pants. Altcoins, total 3, comes back to support. How nice. On old news. Hey, the U.S. government spends too much. Thank you, Moody's. You know, every time they used to say something, Wall Street would trade it the other way. They would say, it's over. Moody's downgrades, XYZ investment bank downgrades, it's over. Now, in the U.S. government's case, it's probably not over, but you get the point. $800 billion for altcoins. The premium zone is 1.2 T. So that's 400 billion we can add to total altcoin market cap. That's altcoin market cap without Bitcoin and ETH. So Solana, XRP, Cardano, Avalanche, SUI, and anything else that comes up underneath those coins. Now, in case you're wondering about this head and shoulders bottom, you're like, hey, Bill, the chart textbooks have downward sloping necklines. And I'm like, yeah, when you have an upward sloping neckline, you can get super explosive moves. Like Coinbase, shoulder, head, shoulder, upward sloping neckline, bada bing, bada boom. Get above the neckline. If they don't retest the neckline, gone. So if XRP gets acquired, if somebody starts running RWA on Solana, or they just flat out get memes going on Solana. I mean, I know some guys that get meme going on Solana. Antivirus is going on Solana. The water token is going to be going on Solana. What happens if they get it going? Go visit the antivirus website and tell me that should be worth $5 or $6 million. Okay, you can tell me all about it. Tell me all about it. Look at this Nvidia. So, everybody in. Everybody in, everybody out, everybody back in again. By the way, just so you know, you see this invalidated head and shoulders pattern, right? Either that or it got to its target. Let's see. Yeah, see, check this out. Nvidia never got to its target. Its target was 80. Now, I got a friend, this guy who, like, this is one of my first jobs in the business. Like, I got out of the futures exchange when that whole thing went computerized and electronics. I saw some guy electronically execute a treasury bond trade on a screen, and I was like, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. This is not going to be run by humans anymore. So this guy hired me, and one of his tricks was the failed head and shoulders pattern. So if it's supposed to go down and it doesn't, what's it going to do? It's going to go up. They came back, and they came back above the neckline. So here's a funny thing. What happens if Nvidia goes up and makes a new high? Or it goes back to its premium zone at 151. All these hedge funds, they're all giga short. Like Goldman's like, yeah, I was bearish, but it's time to scale in. Oh, okay. Everyone's like, yeah, I'm going to buy the dip now. Yeah, there's no dip. This was the dip, homie. So what happens to AI in crypto if Nvidia goes up? Woo! Look at this. BTBT. My understanding is they have a huge Ethereum position, I believe. They are 14% away from the 200-day moving average. They opened this down today. I don't know, because everyone was selling crypto off obvious news, and they were like, yeah, we'll take all of this. Thank you. We'll take it all. You got stuff to sell? We got it. We got it. Wolf. All day, every day, sitting on LuxAlgo support. It's a beautiful thing about LuxAlgo. And then they're all afraid of the 200-day moving average at 4.16. Okay, bro. How nice. Let's see. The Orange Man high was $9.48. And we go over to HUT 8. right? Like they're sitting on the 200-day moving average, which is called a bird on a wire getting ready to fly. And that's where HUD 8 was back in the day. So we're saying, so this is I believe this is the 200-week moving average. The high was 80. It's currently trading at 13. I mean, and people are trying to tell me that they're not early, that they somehow, they got here too late. What are you talking about? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Arrow. Look, oh my God, look at this. Look at this massive downward sloping wedge. Okay, just, LuxAlgo, there's like a button where you can press where it draws patterns. And LuxAlgo's even got a little baby trend line underneath this. Okay, so what's a downward sloping wedge? Let's take a moment to review. A downward sloping wedge is like taking a basketball, sticking it down underwater in a pool, a highly inflated basketball or any ball of any kind, stuff it down, and then let it go. And then it pops to the top and beyond because it's artificially suppressed. So what's going to happen in Arrow if ETH gets going? I mean, the volatility in this token is staggering. You can go up 100% to go back to equilibrium. It likes to go from $0 to $2 and back to 0. You know what I'm saying? Can we check Coinbase, DeFi on Coinbase? Yeah, Arrow, right? Did I actually get the DeFi perp in the right place? I didn't think so. Why is everyone selling DeFi? Why? Why is everybody not pouring into DeFi? Do you realize we're talking about a failed government bond auction? Here we go. So what do we got in DeFi perp? Well, it seems to me like they're afraid of the 200-day moving average. And what happens when they're not? This is Aave, synthetics. We got the small cap stuff in the YouTube platinum area. What is going to happen when they're not afraid? Speaking of not being afraid, okay, gold. Livermore upward sloping accumulation cone with, by request, hidden pivot analysis returns. Boom. Okay. Gold is a perfect market for this. 3,500 and then 4,070. So let me ask you something. Where is Bitcoin going to be and ETH when gold is at 4,070? They want the dollar lower. They're going to tax foreign investment in the United States to get capital to leave, to get the dollar lower, because I'll spare you. You do not have to buy an economics textbook. And most likely Trump and Bessent have read the economics textbook that the only way out of a debt crisis is to devalue the currency. And it's such a pain in their rear because they just cannot get the dollar to go down. I mean, yes, it went down, but they needed to do this. Yeah, I know you've heard this before, but I know that everybody with their $1 million Bitcoin target is not thinking about how we get there, right? We get there with the Plaza Accord, which is now the Mar-a-Lago Accord. This is going down. This is 1985. This was a license to sell from the G7. This is license for the dollar to go down with Greenspan cutting rates after the dot-com bubble burst worse than he wanted it to. And I remember, because it was like kind of like scary Bundesbank characters running the ECB just for good measure, just to make sure the bubble was over. The ECB tightened as it was rolling over. They're like, yeah, let me hit you guys one last time So don't ever do this again. And then that was the end. Then Greenspan's cutting rates, and oh my God, and Enron, and geopolitical events. Okay, here we go. Things in technical analysis happen in threes. Everybody's like $1 million Bitcoin. The quarterly premium zone, discount zone in the dollar is at 70. And they can't get Bitcoin, they can't get this dollar index away from 100. And guess what? The Fed is going to buy bonds, and Bessent is going to buy bonds, and they're going to print money until it goes down. That's it. Period. Like, what is the case for crypto? Why should you get involved? Like, why? Like, why should I get involved? Mrs. Satoshi watching from Twitter. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Oh, now, okay. Now, let's interpret this. So Jamie Dimon hates it. We covered that at the top of the show, even though they're going to allow their clients to buy it because they're probably screaming that they can't buy it. And I don't even think you can buy the Bitcoin ETF at some of these big banks. Like Bank of America, I don't think you can buy the Bitcoin ETF. And Michael Saylor is okay with that. The only thing they can do is MicroStrategy, and I have no idea why everyone is short that stock. Now, so right before the Bitcoin conference, Kramer has to come out and say, I like Bitcoin as a hedge against excessive government borrowing. And I'm like, you stop it. Don't say that. Because every time he comes out and say it, it goes down. Stop it. Now, whoops. That's because I'm talking too loud on the stream. Okay, here we go. Now, here's the thing about Bitcoin, right? You got a 13 top on the daily DeMark chart, which I hope comes up. Right. Okay. So we have some FOMO. The 13 top comes in, but Bitcoin is now sitting on top of support at 102. So Bitcoin had a 9 top and worked it off by going sideways. And that's what we hope happens in Bitcoin. The greatest thing that can happen in Bitcoin is that it just goes sideways. Meanwhile, in Solana, we got a 13 bottom on a 4-hour chart. Juicy. In Bitcoin, on a 4-hour chart, see this A? You know how everyone wants to buy the dip? That is the dip. That was the dip. Pengu. Pudgy penguins worth $1 billion. What do we got here? Well, we got old school. I think we got old school. I think we have teacup and handle. Matter of fact, to me, it seems kind of obvious. There's your teacup. Okay. Or it's just a flat out rounding bottom. And here comes your handle, right? Now, there's always a couple different ways to draw these things. You can like play around with them. That feels like teacup and handle to me because you know why? Because this handle is annoying. See, it's up. I love it. Oh, it's back down. And then it's breaking out. And then we're back down again. It's classic handle, right? And what was the high in this? I don't know. This was like $3 billion. Rock on. Just rock on, dude. I mean, if they use this, if this is money to buy toys, collectibles, I don't know, you get the special toy at Walmart. You know, at the high, I was like, well, you know, I liked it at the high. I did like it at 3 billion. So if I liked it at 3 billion, I have to totally love it at 1 billion. That has to be my attitude with this. But if this has a use case, this is kind of like an NFT and a meme coin, and I'm okay with meme coins. We got kids in their basement. I mean, as long as we don't have people doing harm to themselves and we actually get law enforcement on stupid stuff on pump.fun. But if we want to get meme coins going, let's get it going. I got antivirus and I got something else coming out. I'm going to support that project. God bless them for trying. That's my attitude. I mean, let's go. And then, you know, in the Solana 7, we got some meme coins. We got a meme coin in there. And Toby is not a meme coin fan. And she says she will tell you when memes are going up. But, you know, you're going to have to tune in for that. Because, you know, moon it all, get in. Here's why. Buy in May and stay. I think the woman has been extremely clear about what to do. If you want to look at the coins that are getting picked live on the air, I believe if we can solve the air conditioning technical problems that we're having, and I can talk, we will rock it. And if not, I'll get the videos in because the Solana 7 is in there, which was available to Patreon members early in our store. Okay, so I think you get the point. I'm sorry about the background noise. I'm sorry that I'm coming through a little loud and a little late. You are early. We have research for you to get. We would love you to join us. If you can't join us, if you're coming to us from a far off land, support the stream, hit the like button, hit the notification button. But if you can get research, get research. You want to buy our research? Great. But you want to buy somebody else's research? Great. Get research, find some coins. Because Arthur Hayes is right. Bitcoin is going up, but Web3 is way too cheap. And just like in Web2 or in stocks, it takes one acquisition, one partnership, one deal. BlackRock makes an announcement. Hey, BlackRock's been awful quiet lately. Radio silent. It takes one deal for everybody to go, oh my God, this is too cheap. Oh my God, what do we buy? Like looking to the research. Oh my God, I got to get some research. Get the research now because they're coming. I swear to God, they're coming. Cynthia Lummis won't talk to Garlinghouse. Why? Why won't she talk to Garlinghouse? Well, probably because he's centralized, which is perfect for a Web2 acquisition. That is the market update for today. We will see you hopefully at a better time tomorrow.